So, thank you so much for joining us. We are presenting Sage Fixed Assets today and several methods to simplify your year-end asset management. I am Kimberly Tucker. I am your host and moderator today. So I'm the Director of Marketing at DSD Business Systems, and you would have received several emails from my team as well as a couple socials. So please feel free to reach out via email or the chat box here within the webinar with any questions you might have or any needs to reach the team so you can get the most value out of this time. And then with us today, we have a Sage Fixed Assets sales engineer, Ed Williams. Really excited to have him here. He's dedicated to this product line, so he is extremely knowledgeable on these topics and really ready to answer any questions or just comments or concerns you may have. So once again, as moderator, I'll be monitoring the chat. Please feel free to use that within this webinar environment or reply to any of the emails you've received from the DSD team. And with that, I will pass it over to Ed.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ed Williams. I am the sales engineer for all of the Sage Fixed Assets account managers. I am also a Sage Fixed Assets certified implementation consultant. Today, we will be talking about saving time for your automation features of the Sage Fixed Assets suite, which there are 4 modules. We have the reporting module, the planning module, which is your construction in progress, in the tracking module, and the asset maintenance feature that is now included in the subscription version of the Sage Fixed Assets tracking module, and also the depreciation module, which will depreciate your assets. Now, with depreciation, we have over 300,000 IRS rules built into the application. So that means that your depreciation is going to be reliable. It's going to keep you in compliance with what the IRS says you can and cannot do. It will handle cost adjustments. We also have reports built in, SOC 2 type compliant reports that are built in for auditors. And there is a customizable workflow in the fixed assets depreciation module. With the CIP module, it allows you to track assets before they become placed in service in your depreciation module. It manages all of your construction projects and will then move those assets that you have listed as line items, moving over to your depreciation module in order to start depreciating those assets. And it's also, again, it makes SOC compliance a breeze, and it improves visibility and easy reporting. We also include in the application a report that will show you all of your projects that are in one database. It'll show them all at the same time through Crystal Reports. Tracking module. The tracking module is going to save you a lot of time on knowing where assets are, who they are assigned to, and it will also identify assets that have been disposed that are no longer there. They'll show up as not found. And also it's going to show you assets that you don't have in the system that you found. Now you can build those as assets. That is going to save you on your taxes because you're currently would be for assets that's been disposed, you're still reporting those to the IRS. Assets that are not reported aren't showing up in the system. So that is going to allow you to get the most out of your tax reporting. And there are also 50 different fully customizable fields. So the application is very powerful. Also in the maintenance feature, this allows you to schedule maintenance for vehicles, printers, computers. IT professionals can use this module to identify lifecycle management type of assets, IT equipment. Now, when you schedule maintenance for a truck, we'll say, then what that's going to do is allow you to look at all of the maintenance and the cost that that vehicle has ran through. So at the end, when you do your cost benefit analysis, you can make a decision of whether or not you want to continue to spend money on maintenance for a vehicle, or if you want to trade that vehicle in based on the maintenance cost, okay? And it is fully integrated, okay? And this is a feature that comes with the subscription model, okay? Now, real-time transparency. This is going to show you your assets in real time. So you'll know what the net book value is. You'll know what the 168 allowance, if you're taking bonus depreciation in your tax book or your AMT book. It will also show you via reports all of this information. So there's nothing that is going to be, weird or strange if you look at it, what's that? It's fully laid out in the depreciation system, also in the depreciation report, of which there are 28 standard depreciation reports that comes with the application, and also 10 different tax reports, okay? I'm probably getting ahead of myself. So this is the seamless compliant. So we can run in a advisor update. This is going to let you know any assets that are going against rules of the IRS. It's not going to fix it for you. It will tell you what the issue is and what the resolution is. Now you have that option to go in and say, yes, I'm going to use this recommendation, or I'm just going to leave it the way that it is. We're not going to do anything for you. That's going to be all up to you. But we will give you the tools to make a more informed decision. Okay? Integration. It's beautiful. We integrate with Sage Fixed Assets ERPs. Also, we can do custom APIs, or your business partner, DSD, can do custom APIs that will allow you to integrate with other ERP systems. Now, a lot of customers look at Sage Intacct. With the subscription version of Sage Fixed Assets Depreciation, getting your information from your Intacct AP and PO module is very seamless. It will connect to it. It will pull those assets down, and then you can start depreciating. Not only does it do that, but it will also show you the original document in Intacct that created the asset, the invoice itself. Okay, that is a beautiful feature. Now you can also run a depreciation list for post in GL that will then post to other ERP systems, and you can export that into different file formats that your ERP system is going to use. That's in case you don't want to build any custom APIs for integration. Actionable insights. Look at this. We have the Form 4562. These are customizable reports. Not only can you do that, but it will give you 2 years of 4562 reports, okay? You can also pull out your 4797 reports. This information can then be sent over to your CPA, which is going to save you time, and it's going to save your CPA time when it comes to putting together those different types of reports that are required to be filed for your corporate taxes. And Kimberly, I will send it back over to you for Q&A.
Yeah, wow, that was quick. So I'm very excited to have this time with our engineer here, everyone. So please feel free to ask away. Maybe we can discuss how you're currently managing assets, or maybe Ed, you could go through some of those scenarios that you often see. Actually, we did just get one. Thank you, Phyllis, for asking. The question is, can you use this for prepaid assets?
Yes, you can. If you have a prepaid asset and you want to make that a depreciable asset, and you can tell it that you want to amortize that. So if you want to prepay it and then you want it to be amortized over a certain period of time, then that depreciation, the property type that you set in there would be property type Z, which is saying amortize this, and you can put it on its own amortization schedule. But you can put prepaid, you can put assets in the system that you don't want to start depreciating until a certain period. If you want to add an asset, but you don't want depreciation to start on that asset for a year, then you can put that placed in service date for a year out. So when it hits that placed in service date at the end of the year, it is going to start depreciating that asset. So you don't have to wait until you want to start depreciating the assets. You can actually put the assets in there and just put the placed in service date out as far as you want it to be.
Great, awesome, great question. A follow-up to that one was, can you amortize the expense over just 1 year, not depreciate?
It is going to depreciate, but the amortization itself is going to be the estimated life you can set for a year. But you would use a depreciation method that would allow you to depreciate or to amortize that over the life of a year. And usually that is used with depreciation method SF, which is straight line full month.
Okay, yeah, hopefully that helps, Phyllis. Let us know if that makes sense.
And if you want further clarification on that, then we can give further clarification.
Sure, great. Okay, another question was asking what the cost of a subscription to fixed assets is. So I think that's kind of more intricate, right? Do you typically purchase per module, or can you help the audience understand how it's purchased?
Yes, you can purchase different modules, which is going to give you different costs. So with say you want to do the depreciation module, and that's the only module you want to do, then you can just purchase the depreciation module, but the pricing is based on the number of users, not the number of assets. Okay, so you have the single user version, which will accommodate one user, but up to 10,000 assets. Then you have network depreciation with it, which is a multi-user application, and you can have up to 50,000 assets. And then we have the top tier, which is premier depreciation, which is a multi-user, and you can go up from 1 to over 1 million assets, but it has additional features. Say, for instance, you have multiple companies in different databases. With Premier Depreciation, we include Global Task Manager, which will allow you to build a depreciation batch. Then you can go through and select every company that you have in multiple databases, and you can set a schedule for that to run on a particular day of the month. So say, for instance, you want to run depreciation across all of your companies at the end of October. I can go in and build a batch, tell it that this is my event I want to do, this is the date I want to run it, and these are the books I want to run it against. I can set that up as a batch, and when I get ready to walk out of the office, I can go into Global Task Manager, select that depreciation batch, and it will run depreciation across every company that you select. That's a very good feature. Whereas if you have network depreciation or single user and you have multiple companies, you have to run depreciation individually per company. That was a mouthful.
Perfect. I know, yeah, but that kind of explanation is really, I think, helpful to see the value as well. Like, there's a lot of functionality here. So Ed, one more has come through, and this may have been covered. How many different modules are there for fixed assets? And then a follow-up to that is, how many different depreciation methods are there as well?
There are over 50 depreciation methods, okay? And there are 4 modules included in the fixed assets suite. You have the depreciation module, you have the planning module, which is your construction in progress. You have the tracking module, which includes the maintenance feature, and then you have reporting. One thing to keep in mind, if you purchase Premier Depreciation, then the reporting module is automatically added to that subscription. Now, you can also purchase different modules by saying, hey, I would like the Premier Project Pack, which means that you're getting Premier Depreciation, you're getting the planning module, and you're getting a reporting module. Or you can get the Track Pack, which is depreciation, tracking, and reporting, or you can get the complete pack, which is all 4 modules.
Yeah, perfect. Great segue. Actually, attendees, there's actually 2 handouts in the handout section of this webinar that cover both the Sage Fixed Asset product as a whole. There's a data sheet and kind of a brochure that walks you through those different modules available to you, and that kind of gives an overview of some different screens and things like that. And then there's also a product tour. So we've converted our product tour web page into a handout for you, so you can actually see a quick tour of all 4 of those modules: depreciation, planning, tracking, and reporting. So while we didn't have time to go at depth on a 30-minute webinar here, we did give that as a takeaway here, so that you could see those modules in a light way. And then obviously Ed or the DSD team is very available to you for a deeper dive, and these questions are great. We also have a demo that Sherry on our team has recorded that showcases the integration between a product like Sage 100 and fixed assets. So we have a lot available on demand to you all too. So we're excited to share that with you now, immediately in the webinar here, but also we'll send an email or follow up with all of these resources as well.
And Kimberly, can I add that as of version 2024, we have incorporated Ally, which is an AI chatbot. So if customers already have the Sage Fixed Assets Depreciation module, then they have Ally built in. What Ally does, if you've ever tried to go to support and you have to wait for a support technician to get online with you, Ally will answer those questions for you. So if you type in Ally, ask a question, how do I run depreciation? You click ask. Ally is going to go out and check every knowledge base article that's been written by Sage and all of the users manuals that's been written, and it's going to come up with the steps that you do to run depreciation. So that in itself is a time saver.
Cool. That's amazing. So one of the things that we also wanted to touch on here, I guess, is there multiple books that are available in Sage Fixed Assets? There's a question here about tax and internal, state.
Out of the box, there are 7 books that are open in the depreciation module. You have your tax book, internal, state, AMT, ACE, your custom 1 and custom 2 book. But say, for instance, you need more books. You may need 8 or 9 books. There is also built in a feature where you can add an additional 13 books, which will give you 20 books. Now, also on the flip side of that, you have 7 books that are open, but you only use your internal and your tax book. You can actually turn off those other books that you aren't using, so you won't even be bothered with the information in other books that you aren't even using.
That's huge. That's awesome. Okay, another question here. What's the minimum modules you need for this?
1.
Just 1. Okay.
1.
And you can choose any one of them. You don't have to build from depreciation, for instance.
Now, I would caveat that by saying, if you want to be able to do depreciation, then you have to purchase the depreciation module, because that's the only module that will do depreciation. But each one of the modules, say you don't want to do depreciation, you just want to do tracking, then you only have to purchase tracking. If you only want to do construction in progress, then you only have to purchase the construction in progress module. Now, the only thing that is different about that. If you purchase the reporting module, you have to have at least one Sage product on that end user workstation or on that server, because it will check to make sure that there is, it doesn't care if it's Sage 100, if it's Sage 500, if it's intact, and you have an intact client, that will allow you to install the reporting module. If you don't have any of those, then it won't install. It'll search to make sure that you have at least one qualifying Sage product before it will install.
That seems pretty straightforward. Great. I hope that answers your question, Phyllis. Any other questions, attendees?
And as you can tell, I love talking about these products.
Yeah, happy to, even ask you what typically questions you come across in the sales process, or what you often see from desires, I guess, in business type, like what's your best fit, or, have you heard any audit horror stories or anything like that?
No, as a matter of fact, we have never had a customer come back to us and say, hey, we just failed an audit. We've had customers that come to us that has been trying to do tax calculations in a spreadsheet or using a different system and say, hey, we're being audited and we failed the audit. Now we need to purchase the depreciation module so that we can be in compliance with the IRS, because customers will try to do things that the IRS doesn't allow. Say, for instance, you have an automobile. That automobile is property type A. You have an estimated life of 5 years. You try to change that estimated life to 7 years. The depreciation application will come back and tell you 7 years is invalid. You wonder, why is 7 years invalid? We built the IRS table into the application, so you can click on the IRS table that's included in the application. It will bring up that IRS table. You go down to automobile and it'll show you 5 years, 5 years. This is what the IRS says. That is why in any book that's using maker's depreciation, like MF, that's your state book, your tax book, your AMT book, if it's using MF, then those follow the IRS rules. You can, however, since your internal book is only internal to your company and you use that to post your debits and credits into your GL, you can have an estimated life of 7 years with a property type A automobile.
Sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
We do have some extra time here, attendees, or Ed, I don't know if you want to speak to any of the resources that are typically available to a Sage Fixed Assets user,
Yes.
or anything else to share.
In the application, they have now built in what is called the Resource Center. So you can actually go into the Resource Center and it will make available everything that is available to Sage. We have an ideas portal. So if you're using an application and you want to see a feature added to the application, you can actually go into the ideas portal and type your recommendation in. That goes straight to the development team. A lot of the things that you're going to be seeing in the application that is coming out now and in future releases are requests from customers for product enhancements. So we do listen to the customer. Another thing is you can go and see what's available in Sage University for training. Is it free or is it paid, right? You can go to get knowledge base articles. You can go to Sage City. So if you're looking for specific industry specific type things, then in Sage City, I think they've changed it to the community hub, where you can see companies that are in the same type of business that you're in that have already asked questions that will automatically you'll see the answer to your questions. If not, then you'll be talking to that product specialist. Okay, so those are some of the features that's built into the application. We also have SOC 2 type compliant reporting built into the application. So if you're getting ready to go through an audit, you can click on System Administration Access Utility Reports. It will show you all of the reports that are available that auditors are looking for. Okay. So those are some of the features that's built into it. And also under the help function, you have local help and you have help that you can get to support, or you can go and download the product documentation like the user's manual, 565 pages. Okay, that's where Ally really comes into play, because those 565 pages that you would have to read through in the user's manual, Ally already has those answers for you when you ask the question. And it's only getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think crowdsourcing is really cool in general too. So that community feel in the new Sage environment is actually how some of you found out about this webinar too. So really appreciate. Yeah. So keep those questions coming, attendees. I mean, we are here for you, and obviously Ed loves this topic and is super knowledgeable on it. So we're here for it. I do hope that the product tour is valuable and can offer some on-demand experience. And I will just, I guess, maybe preface the pricing and things like that DSD is happy to go through that quoting process with you all. You're in attendance of this webinar, so your account manager will likely reach out to get your thoughts and just see where you're at, and if this seemed like a good fit for you. We definitely have an influx of support and excitement here at your end, so we want to do everything we can proactively to help you have a smooth close and really, feel confident in closing those books and flipping to a new year. So if at all possible, please feel free to reach out to marketing if you have immediate questions that we weren't able to address here at the webinar. But otherwise, we'll definitely be following up and sending a copy of this recording, as well as the assets that we discussed, which are a brochure about fixed assets, the product tour, which includes a 4-part on-demand demo for each module that we discussed, which is depreciation, planning, tracking, and reporting. And then also we have a quick video to show how the information between Sage 100 and fixed assets can flow. So all of those assets should help, you see the value in a solution like this. And we're excited to continue the conversation after today's webinar. So if you don't have any other words of wisdom for us, Ed, maybe we just lead to close.
Well, I would say that as you go through your day-to-day processes, if you're still using spreadsheets, then just remember there is a lot of complicated features that you may have to do, like changing the value of an asset and either recalculating that depreciation from the placed in service date, or just move it forward from the time that you change that asset and retain all of your depreciation information prior to. That's one of the advantages of using a depreciation system. Okay.
Yep, very true, very true. And we're only getting more tech savvy as the workforce changes over and things like that. So it's exciting times in technology. So
yes, it is.
It is. So thank you so much again, Ed. We really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you attendees for your time and engagement here at this webinar. Please feel free to reach out again if you find a question that comes to you later today or whatnot, but I really appreciate you all joining us.